What if I told you that you could lose 10 to 20 pounds in the next 30 days without counting a single calorie, without eliminating entire food groups, and without spending hours at the gym? What if the secret wasn't about what you eat, but when you eat it? This is the promise of intermittent fasting, and millions of people are taking on 30-day challenges to transform their bodies and their relationship with food. The results are everywhere on social media. Before and after photos showing dramatic weight loss, people documenting their energy levels skyrocketing, stories of mental clarity that people haven't experienced in years. But intermittent fasting isn't just another diet trend. It's a fundamental shift in how and when you fuel your body, and it's based on scientific principles that have been studied for decades. However, recent research has also revealed some surprising risks that most people aren't talking about. Before you start your own 30-day intermittent fasting challenge, you need to understand exactly what you're getting into, what you can realistically expect, and how to do it safely to maximize your results while minimizing potential health risks. The reason most people struggle with weight loss isn't because they don't know what healthy foods are, or because they lack willpower. The problem is that traditional dieting goes against millions of years of human evolution. Our ancestors didn't have access to food 24/7. They naturally went through periods of eating and periods of fasting based on food availability. Their bodies adapted to use stored fat for energy during these fasting periods. Modern life has completely disrupted this natural rhythm. We eat from the moment we wake up until right before bed. We snack constantly throughout the day. Our bodies never get a chance to tap into stored fat because there's always fresh glucose from food available for energy. This constant eating keeps insulin levels elevated, which signals the body to store fat rather than burn it. Even worse, it creates a cycle of blood sugar spikes and crashes that lead to constant hunger and cravings. You end up feeling hungry even when you've consumed enough calories for the day. Intermittent fasting breaks this cycle by giving your body extended periods without food, allowing insulin levels to drop and forcing your body to burn stored fat for energy. This isn't starvation. It's returning to the natural eating pattern that humans evolved with. During the fasting period, your body goes through several metabolic changes that promote fat burning, cellular repair, and hormone optimization. The key is that these changes only happen when you give your body enough time without food to trigger them. Intermittent fasting works through several powerful biological mechanisms that activate when you stop eating for extended periods. The most important change happens to your insulin levels. When you eat, especially carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises and your pancreas releases insulin to help cells absorb the glucose. Insulin is essentially a storage hormone. When it's elevated, your body is in storage mode, converting excess glucose into fat and preventing stored fat from being burned for energy. When you fast for 12 hours or longer, insulin levels drop significantly. This is when your body switches from glucose burning to fat burning mode. Your liver begins converting stored fat into ketones, which serve as an alternative fuel source for your brain and muscles. This metabolic switch typically occurs between 12 to 16 hours of fasting, which is why most intermittent fasting protocols involve at least this much time between meals. But the benefits go far beyond just burning fat. During fasting periods, your body also increases production of growth hormone, which helps preserve muscle mass and promotes fat burning. Autophagy, your body's cellular cleanup process, becomes more active. This is when cells remove damaged components and regenerate healthy new ones. Some researchers believe this process may contribute to longevity and disease prevention. Your body also becomes more sensitive to insulin during fasting periods, which means when you do eat, your body can process carbohydrates more efficiently. Many people find that foods taste better and are more satisfying after a fasting period. This isn't just psychological. Your taste buds and hunger hormones actually reset during the fast, making you more aware of true hunger versus habitual eating. The most popular approach for a 30-day intermittent fasting challenge is the 16-8 method, where you fast for 16 hours and eat all your food within an 8-hour window. For most people, this means skipping breakfast and eating between noon and 8 p.m., or eating breakfast and an early dinner while skipping late-night meals. The beauty of this approach is that you're already fasting for 7 to 8 hours while you sleep, so you only need to extend that fast by another 8 to 9 hours. During your first week, focus on establishing a consistent eating window rather than worrying about what you're eating. Many people find that their appetite naturally decreases and they start making healthier food choices without consciously trying. Your body will be adjusting to the new eating schedule, and you might experience some hunger during your normal meal times. This is completely normal and usually subsides after 3 to 5 days. During week 2, you'll likely notice that the hunger during fasting hours becomes much more manageable. Many people report increased energy levels and better mental clarity during their fasting periods. The scale might start showing some changes, though initial weight loss often includes water weight as your body depletes glycogen stores. Week 3 is when many people experience the most dramatic changes. Your body has adapted to burning fat for fuel during fasting periods. Energy levels often stabilize at a higher baseline. Sleep quality frequently improves. The psychological benefits become apparent as people realize they can go extended periods without food and feel good doing it. By week 4, intermittent fasting often feels like a natural part of your routine rather than a challenge you're enduring. Many people find they don't want to go back to their old eating patterns because they feel so much better with the structure and metabolic benefits of fasting. However, recent research has revealed some important considerations that weren't widely known when intermittent fasting first became popular. A large study published in 2024 found that people who restricted their eating to an 8-hour window had a 91% increased risk of cardiovascular death compared to those who ate across a 12 to 16-hour window. This finding surprised many researchers and highlights the importance of not making your eating window too restrictive. The study had limitations and hasn't been peer-reviewed yet, but it's important information to consider. The research suggests that very restrictive eating windows might not be appropriate for everyone, especially people who already have cardiovascular risk factors. This doesn't mean intermittent fasting is dangerous, but it does suggest that more moderate approaches like 14-10 or 12-12 might be safer than extreme 16, 8 or 24-hour fasting protocols. Another consideration is that intermittent fasting can lead to gallstone formation in some people, particularly when fasting periods exceed 16 hours regularly. The reduced frequency of gallbladder contractions during fasting can cause bile to become concentrated and form stones. People with a history of gallbladder issues should be especially cautious. Intermittent fasting can also affect women differently than men due to hormonal differences. Some women experience disrupted menstrual cycles or increased stress hormone levels with aggressive fasting protocols. Starting with shorter fasting periods and monitoring how your body responds is especially important for women. The biggest mistakes people make during their 30-day intermittent fasting challenge usually happen during the eating windows rather than the fasting periods. Many people think that because they're fasting for 16 hours, they can eat whatever they want during their 8-hour eating window. While intermittent fasting doesn't require strict food restrictions, the quality and quantity of food you eat still matters for your results. The most successful people use their eating windows to nourish their bodies with nutrient-dense foods, focus on protein at each meal to maintain muscle mass and promote satiety, include plenty of vegetables for fiber and micronutrients, choose complex carbohydrates that provide steady energy rather than causing blood sugar spikes. When you do eat, eat slowly and pay attention to hunger and fullness cues. Many people find that their appetite is naturally reduced during intermittent fasting, but it's still possible to overeat during your eating window if you're not mindful. Another common mistake is not staying properly hydrated during fasting periods. You can and should drink water, black coffee, and plain tea during your fast. These beverages won't break your fast and can help manage hunger. Many people also underestimate the importance of electrolytes, especially if they're doing longer fasting periods or exercising while fasting. Some people try to jump into very long fasting periods too quickly. Start with a 12-hour fast and gradually extend it by an hour every few days until you reach your target fasting window. This allows your body to adapt gradually and reduces the likelihood of negative side effects. Finally, many people don't plan for social situations. Intermittent fasting can be challenging when your eating window doesn't align with family meals or social events. Having a flexible approach and being willing to adjust your fasting schedule occasionally for important social occasions helps maintain the lifestyle long-term. Your 30-day intermittent fasting challenge is just the beginning of what could be a long-term lifestyle change that improves your health, energy, and relationship with food. The key to success is starting gradually, listening to your body, and focusing on consistency rather than perfection. Choose an eating window that fits with your natural schedule and social obligations. If you're a morning person who enjoys breakfast, consider eating from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. rather than the popular noon to 8 p.m. window. The most important factor is consistency. Your body adapts best when you maintain the same eating schedule most days of the week. Monitor how you feel throughout the challenge. Intermittent fasting should increase your energy and mental clarity, not leave you feeling exhausted or anxious. If you experience persistent fatigue, mood changes, or other concerning symptoms, consider adjusting your approach or consulting with a healthcare provider. Remember that the scale might not tell the whole story during your first 30 days. Many people lose fat while maintaining or even gaining muscle, especially if they're doing resistance training. Take body measurements and progress photos in addition to weighing yourself. Pay attention to non-scale victories like better sleep, improved digestion, reduced cravings, and increased energy levels. These benefits often appear before significant weight loss and can be just as valuable for your overall health and quality of life. As you complete your 30-day challenge, evaluate what worked well and what was challenging. Many people find that intermittent fasting becomes easier and more natural over time. The metabolic and psychological benefits often motivate people to continue the practice long-term. However, it's also perfectly fine to use intermittent fasting as a tool that you implement periodically rather than a permanent lifestyle. Some people do well with cycles of intermittent fasting followed by periods of normal eating patterns. The most important outcome of your 30-day challenge should be a better understanding of your hunger cues, improved relationship with food, and confidence that you can successfully make significant changes to your health and well-being when you commit to a structured approach.